Welcome to episode 94 of the Guardian 1 podcast. We record live Thursdays at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, right here on twitch.tv/Guardian 1 Network. My name is Remy, and tonight I am joined by CrimZon Warlock.
Welcome to the Beavertron 5000, everybody.
Jez.
Pretty sure that song's getting longer.
Agrios.
Greetings, Guardians.
Sharks.
I know it's getting longer.
And Gray.
Why are we worried about the length?
It's the content that counts. We're going to be talking about all things Destiny, but first, housekeeping.
Hello, Guardians. Thank you for listening in on the podcast, however it is that you are choosing to listen. Be sure to follow Guardian 1 on Twitter, at G1Net. That's G, the number 1, N-E-T. In addition, be sure to check out the Guardian 1 website at guardian1.net. If you want to send us an email, you can send it to feedback@guardian1.net. If you do a search on Bungie.net for Guardian 1, you'll find our forums group, which we also use for both comments and feedback. Big thank you to all those currently in the Twitch chat. As Remy said at the top of the podcast, you can watch the show live at twitch.tv/Guardian1Network. We broadcast every Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. If you can't catch the show live, you can always search for the Guardian 1 podcast on iTunes, as well as the Guardian 1 YouTube channel at youtube.com/Guardian1Network. Guardian 1 is a proud member of the Guardian Radio Network, so be sure to check out the Guardian Radio Network website at theguardiansofdestiny.com. There you'll find all the different podcasts as part of the network, including the flagship podcast, Guardian Radio. They broadcast every Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Guardian Radio. You can also follow their Twitter account at GuardiansofD and their YouTube channel, youtube.com/GuardiansofD. Other podcasts that are part of the Guardian Radio Network include previous episodes of TTL Party Chat and Robust Radio. There's also a podcast called Ghost and Echoes, which contains a bit of fan fiction and audio versions of the Grimoire cards found within Destiny. That's it for housekeeping. I'll see you again soon.
Okay. You're right, Jez. Duality is the song I was thinking of. I would type it into the thing, but I'm afraid of Skype going out on me again. Welcome, everybody, to episode 94 of the Guardian 1 podcast. Interesting topic today. 4 days ago, Fuzzle, who's like super huge. He's like such a rock star in the community. He kicks a lot of ass, and he's part of the Destiny Reddit crew. Very cool guy. Very cool to have interesting thoughts coming from him. He posted a poll, and his tweet was, "Our characters will accompany us into Destiny 2, but do you want some or of our gear to come with us?" And the most votes, 98 votes, 39% said no, fresh start, 22% said yes, my favorite gear, 21%, and my vote got yes, all gear, and then 17% said yes, only exotics. And that seemed strange to me. It seemed really strange to me. Like we've talked about this before on the show, where we've discussed that what really makes our guardians is the gear. Like, you can delete your hunter or your warlock or whatever, and as long as you don't delete their gear, you can have what is essentially actually that same guardian once you level up everything that you've leveled up to. There's no real our guardian. I suppose that the choices that you made during character creation go some distance to being that's our guardian, but for the most part, you don't even see that. You can walk around the tower without your helmet on, but I don't feel like that's a big enough part of the game. It doesn't really. It's neither here nor there. And then Nevin Douglas, and another person, another very cool person in the community. He makes electronic music as @music emoticon. And he does really well at what he does. He's a very cool electronic musician, and he did his own take on an Aphex Twin song. I love Aphex Twin. and it's very, very unique music, almost very much an acquired taste. But his reply was, I want a complete fresh start, as in new characters and everything, total clean break from D1. And Fuzzle said, oh, really? I mean, it is limiting their capabilities story-wise, but I feel like I want to continue my legend. And then Nevin said, I feel like they've completely failed to make us invest in our characters at all, aside from being collections of gear. I think it would actually be easier for them to start fresh in every way, rather than take characters I've already written off and then suddenly try to make me care about them as actual characters. I think the fewer reminders of D1, the better. And Fuzzle says, I have really fallen in love with mine and gave them their own personality in my head. And then Nevin said, it's a strange situation. A bunch of us were just talking about this over at DBO Tweets. And then he wrote this. The part that concerns me is that I'm not sure if it is possible for Bungie to ever fully turn things around. TTK was a big improvement on vanilla in terms of the narrative flow of the campaign, but it was all rooted in a foundation that I didn't care about. I'm already not interested in the Hive or the Guardians or the Traveler or how any of them relate to each other. So while TTK told a decent little story, it didn't do anything to make me invested in the universe, and I just don't know if it is possible without doing a bit of a clean break. If Destiny 2 has us taking our same Guardians to the same tower, with some modifications, I'm sure, and following the same pattern of talking to these side characters that I already don't care about to get quests that involve fighting the same enemy factions I've already lost interest in from a narrative point of view, then not even the best plot or script in the world will be enough to turn things around for me. I feel like I would need Destiny to start over with me, reintroduce me to this world, to the city, the Guardians, the people we're fighting for, and the threats that we're so afraid of. I don't mean a hard reboot, just a new story with new characters at a point in time not directly connected to where we are now. I just don't think there is the slightest chance of Bungie taking that approach. Too many people would be angry about everything they did, parentheses collected, in year 1, 2, and 3 being a waste. And so I do agree with him that I just don't think there's the slightest chance that they're going to do that. You know, Bungie has said that our characters, that our Guardians would go with us through this. And if they don't allow us to take over any of our gear, or specifically even our direct characters, then you know, that part of it remains unfulfilled. And I just don't think that they're going to take that direction. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me to completely start over. And I don't know where the breakdown was. Like, why does Nevin not care about how the Hive and the Traveler and the Guardian connect? Like, this, I think, is the heart of the story, and it's the one that we're being told over a long enough timeline. Like, they've given us a setting, they've given us clues to things that came before us, and with each new release, they continue to put out little tidbits of information. And I really am invested in my characters, much like Fuzzle said. I've got a little background in my head for each of them. You know, like, I started playing these characters and I started thinking about how this one specifically would fit into this world, and how, you know, do they like Shax? Do they like Zavala? You know, how do they feel about Eris in the tower? Like, these are all things that I've thought about and enjoy thinking about, because I am insanely invested in this world, and having such a break that we're talking about it not being related at all to what we're doing doesn't make sense to me. Now, I could see maybe not going back to the tower, like at some big important milestone, the Traveler wakes up and he splits town to somewhere else. That city is only as protected as it is without the light of the Traveler being so close and being underneath it and surrounded by its light. Like, we would only be able to hold out there for so long before our enemies just swamped us. And so as part of a larger storyline, I could see us abandoning the tower. I could see us abandoning the city. But I really enjoy going to the tower. I like having one hub to kind of, rearm and collect things, and that's where my vault is. I mean, I guess my vault is also at the reef, and it could be everywhere else, that we have access to these things. But I do not think at all that such a break is necessary, and I wanted to bring it up to you guys because maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, and so, Grey Ghost, why don't we get started with you? Do you think that there should be as clean a break as what Nevin is describing? Like, are you completely so uninvested in this world that you just couldn't even imagine giving one crap about any of it if it continues, if Destiny 2 continues the story that it's taking on from right now?
So we come from the perspective of being a little bit more diehard players, and obviously we invest a lot more time. And I think that tends to put us on the bell curve end where we enjoy at least some aspects of the story. Certainly we enjoy the gameplay. I think that there's a very rich story in Destiny, and I enjoy it. I love the story. With that said, not everybody's going to love the story. It's not going to connect with some people, and there's always going to be that percentage. I think this is a situation where you could throw the baby out with the bathwater. You could lose so much of the core that's really good, that appeals to the majority of players, to appease the needs of a very small minority that don't necessarily enjoy the story aspect that Destiny has. So I don't agree. I understand. I mean, I recognize that there's always going to be a subset of people that don't enjoy the story that Destiny has to offer. And I don't think that Destiny and Bungie did a very good job setting up that story with year one. I have to say that without personal experience, but from everything I've heard and people's dissatisfaction with the vanilla Destiny, they didn't give themselves the best shot to convey that story in the best way possible. And I think people might have had some dissatisfaction that they still have a grudge that they're trying to shake from that experience. Related. Oh, go ahead.
No, go on.
Well, I was going to transition to my thoughts about my own Guardian, but I want to hear your comments about that.
Well, actually, I was just going to move on to the next person in a row, but I was also going to add that, did you know, Gray, that in year one, you could just switch factions by switching your class item, like just instantly? There was no changing it once a week.
But as a downside, that was the only way to do it. Like, in order to represent Dead Orbit or whatever, you were forced to wear your Dead Orbit class item, thus taking away that stylistic option. So that was something we kind of wanted solved just for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
And
but
just to mess with that, they made the class item a stat item, so it's no longer just cosmetic.
Right. Right. So we've traded one bad for another bad. But yes, please tell me how this transitions to your Guardian.
So my primary Guardian is the only one that I care strongly about, and I do want to bring that Guardian into Destiny 2. I'm not so hooked on my gear. I'd rather have new stuff than play with old stuff. So I don't necessarily think I need to bring my gear. I'm not nearly as connected to the gear as I am the Guardian, and I don't know if it's the stats that are associated with the Guardian or the experience, but something that tells me I'm bringing that same hunter into year 2 is important to me. And if that means I get to have just a small handful of things to bring forward, I would be content with that.
Interesting. So, like, maybe everything that's on a Guardian you could take with you, what you're talking about?
Yeah, and I'm not even that opposed to them doing what they did when Taken King came out and having it all be less viable gear for Destiny 2. The year 1 gear is pretty much only effective in Crucible, where power doesn't matter, but you don't really use it in PvE very much. I would be fine with that. I'd be fine being able to carry it forward and have it have very limited utility because the light levels and the power levels have increased so much that you don't really want to use it except for sentimental purposes.
Or old content, depending on what they do with the original content, which is something that we've discussed a lot about here. And it's something that I'm very much interested in knowing. Like for instance, my recent playing of Destiny has manifested itself in me just trying to get so much done. And for those keeping track, right now I'm down to an exotic sword for each system, and then just the War Priest challenge calcified fragment, and then I'm done with my moment of triumph for both systems. So I've really made a big push to getting those things done, and it's because there was a deadline. And I feel like I really want to know what the deadline is for a lot of this stuff. You know, when Destiny 2 come out, will we still be able to play any of the content from Destiny 1? Because if not, and I got my first Mythoclast, everybody. I'm so excited. Thank you. Shout out to Maynard James for making that happen, because he's always running the older strikes or the older raids. And I was so excited to get it, and I'm still excited to get it. I still need one on the PlayStation or on the Xbox, and I need my Crux on Xbox. But how long do I have to get those? You know, will they be keeping this stuff past a certain amount? Also, the exotic class items. I'm about a quarter to a third of the way through of my Dead Orbit class item on both systems. And so how long do I have before that's no longer an option to get? And that goes right back around to this. If they're not bringing any of that stuff into Destiny 2, why am I putting my time into it? You know, like it has been a learning experience for all of us. Like Agrios at first was like such a big buff on collecting all of the stuff that he could, because it represented a milestone, or it represented a cool piece of gear, and Bungie has gone in and changed the way things work, and Bungie has gone in and changed the way things look, and so he has ridden himself of this unnecessary need to collect, because what's the point if they're just going to change it, if it's not only going to be not functionally the same, and if it's not going to be functionally worthwhile because it's got a way lower attack value, and it doesn't matter if it might not even look the same if you keep it. He's moved past that, and so.
Well, I wouldn't exactly say I've moved past that, and I haven't got away from the need to want to collect. It's just something that Destiny is not fulfilling for me anymore. I still want to do it. I still have that desire. I still look at it like, I'd love to collect a full set of Iron Banner gear just to have the look for every one of my characters. But then there's all that stuff you said. So I still have the desire to do it. I still really want to, but Destiny's just not doing it for me anymore.
So what is what would need to happen? Like I'm happy to hear that you still have that drive, but what would need to happen in order for that to be, instead of in the back of your mind you still want to do this, to being like front and center? I'm just going to collect this. I'm going to put in my time, and I'm going to make this happen. Like what do you need to see or hear that would change it from a back burner thought to a front burner thought?
I would need to hear an all and out, direct commitment from Bungie on the specific issue, about that they want to address this issue and they want to provide this sort of fulfillment in their game for this desire in players like myself. They need to openly and directly address it, make a commitment to it, because at this point, just giving me more vault space or something technical, that may have worked in any old game or in Destiny before I kind of got to know Destiny, so to speak, because like you said, they go and just change things sometimes. Because of the limited space, I couldn't keep absolutely everything I wanted. I mean, I'm a hoarder, pack rat sort of type person in games and stuff like that. If I were given the space, I would still have every single version of every single class item available from every single faction from year one. In my vault for stylistic reasons, just because I felt like putting it on one day or whatever. And they're so far away from that by going back and just changing the way the one scarf I had room for from Dead Orbit and kept, they completely changed the way it looked. It's white and super light gray and terrible looking now, instead of being black and awesome like it was originally. So without that sort of direct commitment on this specific issue, I can't know Bungie's just not going to go and do that to the stuff I chose to collect anyway. And then there's how many things I sacrificed and deleted because I didn't have room in my vault because I was occupying it with something that they just went and changed anyway. So there's sort of this lack of faith now that I have in me that, like I said, unless they address it directly, I'm going to have that in the back of my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I totally understand. And I still have that scarf. And to be perfectly honest, that's what's clogging up my my armor vault right now. I just have a ton of class items, mostly Titan class items. Like I really, in the very beginning of Destiny, I played Titan first and foremost, and basically only. And so I would come across marks that seemed really excellent. They either looked really cool or they had really cool flavor text. And so I don't want to throw those things away. Like, I mean, I guess if it came down to it, I could probably delete everything but like a page. Like I could probably break it down to a page if I was really trying to hurt myself. If I really wanted to make myself sad.
And I mean, we talk about this a lot, and this isn't like a make or break issue with Destiny. Like, if Destiny said the exact opposite, and we're not a game about collecting, we're going to be a game about, inventory management is going to be one of the challenges of our game, and you're going to need to process and delete and reuse that for materials or whatever. Like, that's just the way we're working our game. That's not going to like ultimately diminish Destiny. I'm still going to want to play Destiny. It's just, is that going to fulfill a particular aspect of, one of my desires in gaming? No, it doesn't fulfill that particular aspect, but it's not a make or break issue. It's just, one of those things that would be really nice, considering the amount of time and, like I have for Destiny.
Yeah, for me, this lack of thinking that they're going to respect the things that we've got, it's really made me not give a crap about the new stuff. All of the stuff from the King's Fall raid, I have not grabbed any attention to basically whatsoever. I have kept like the class items because I think that those are cool, but with the other raids, like I want to keep a full set of those armor. It's exciting to me to have a full set, and it looks cool and it's functional. And I feel like because the rules have changed so many times that I can't trust it. And so even I feel like I'm a huge Destiny fan. Like I'm a huge Destiny nut, and it feels good. Like there will be times when I'm playing Destiny and I just feel good. There's just this wave of happiness that flows over me, and I think, man, what I'm doing right now is kicking ass, and I love it. But still, all of my vault is full. I mean, I don't know. I'll get to you. I'll come back to you, Agrios, in just 1 second. I want to get Shark's opinion on this. Sharks, do you think that this that we should carry over all of this stuff into Destiny, or do you want to have it from scratch? And are you invested at all in your Guardians? Are you invested at all in this story? Do you think we should carry over all the crap? Do you think we should carry over some of the crap? Do you think we should carry over just the exotic crap?
Okay, so it's not a straightforward answer because we as players still don't really know what this game is. Is this game an MMO like World of Warcraft? If it is, then everything should be carried over because that's the whole point in getting all this stuff and collecting it. But like Agrios has said over and over and over again, Bungie has taken stuff away. I mean, that's a really harsh way of putting it, but forcing you not to be able to collect these items. I think that as of the April update, they stopped doing that, but there's always that lingering thought in the back of your mind, oh, well, this next update that's coming in September, maybe they're not going to let us keep this. Or the update after that, they're not going to let us keep this. And that's really frustrating because I, like a lot of people, like to collect things. But it's not even about collecting things. It's okay, you ask, oh, well, am I attached to my guardian? I'm not attached to my guardian. My guardian doesn't talk except for like 3 lines in the entire game since release. So I'm not really attached to that. There are a lot of people out there that hate their guardians. They wish they could take them, erase them, and start over with them, but keep their stats. But the gear I'm attached to, like I have my full set of awesome Iron Banner gear that I have tweaked and twisted to get to the exact way that I wanted it for months and months and months. And it's something that I would like to bring over to the next incarnation, not just because I think it's good gear, but because I think as a year 1 guardian, as an alpha guardian, we have stuff that shows other people that we've been playing for that long, and I think that old gear could be used in the same regard. So like Destiny 2 comes out, I'm walking around in this Iron Banner gear that nobody can get anymore, and that's because I've been playing for such a long time. As far as other gear, I don't know. It's really hard to say, oh, yes, I want all the gear to come, because there's a lot of reasons that it shouldn't come. But at the same time, there's a lot of reasons that it should. With the way that Infusion works now, with each incarnation of Destiny that we get from now on, we will have so many choices. So I think it would make sense to bring that along. And then really everybody will be different, and everybody will be using different guns and looking different. So, I mean, I want it to come along, but at the same time, I could understand why it wouldn't if this is not an MMO. And that's something that only Bungie can answer.
Okay, so what if there is no Destiny 2? What if there is no because it's not like there's World of Warcraft 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? There was the original World of Warcraft, and then they released an add-on, and then that was just the world that you lived in, right? Like you got to keep all the stuff that you already had. I've never played it. I've actually, I've played World of Warcraft for about 10 minutes one time on like a week-long free try it out thing, and that's it. So I don't know how you keep gear, but it is my understanding that you got this stuff, and then as new additions showed up, the power level crept up, and that stuff wasn't as good, and you wanted to collect this new stuff, but there wasn't ever, you weren't. Can you still play the old stuff in World of Warcraft?
Yeah, but well, not all of it's gear like that, right, Jez? I mean, some of it is aesthetic stuff.
Okay, so the way that World of Warcraft worked is originally, like, they just added expansions, added new gear, and the top rating gear of the last expansion lasted you until the starting of the rating of the next expansion. So basically, it got you through the leveling. That's all you had your old gear for.
Okay, and that's basically what we have right now. Well, no, actually, that's not what we have right now.
It's what we had during the jump to TTK. Okay, it's the only time we did it.
Okay.
Now, what they do now is all gear, or I think like 90% of gear, like all the epics and all the greens and blues, they all unlock a appearance in a cosmetic tab, so you don't even have to keep that gear anymore. You just collect the appearance, and then you can go to a transmogrifier and change that piece of gear to look like that whenever you want.
Man, that sounds awesome.
Well, kind of like how we've been asking for a long time. People want transmog. That's basically what everybody's been yelling for a year now.
When they first had transmog, you had to have the item itself, like in a void storage, that you take out, put on your gear, and then put back in the void storage. It was basically a hassle, so they just made it like a collectible thing. So now you know how many of head slot item collectibles you need to collect before you have them all.
See, that eliminates, needing to save space just for, like, one of each Iron Banner arm set or one of each raid set. Like, if it's not the functional piece of gear you need to still use, you can just delete it from the materials because you still have it saved on your appearance tab. And you can just always go make the armor you're wearing right now look like it if you feel like.
Yeah. But the one thing I want to add to this is that we all were told by Bungie originally that everything was going to, you're going to keep your guardians and they're going to stay with you through this, quote unquote 10-year cycle or whatever it's going to be. And since we're not most people really aren't attached to the actual guardian itself, you're attached to your stats, but you're not attached to, Joe Blow Exo that has a blue face and a shot in his head.
I am.
Are you?
Well, there's not really too much choice you put into your character to care about.
Right.
This is true.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know that it's
So,
that external though. I personally would like to take mine, but I know Hefty Flounder would throw a fit if she couldn't take that character along with her for no reason other than she has a personal connection with that character. Even if they could replicate the exact same looking character, if they didn't say it was the same one, she would be livid about it.
So I kind of feel like I've transitioned in the way that Bungie was hoping that people would. So Sharks, you say you don't give a crap about your Guardian, all that you have interest in is your gear. I think that I've made the leap that Bungie was hoping that people would make by thinking not of my Guardians as separate from me, but that is me in there. Like because we are not seeing so much with how do I explain this? The majority of the time that I'm playing, I'm not seeing my character talk. Like I am talking for my character with other people that I'm playing with. I don't do a lot of story missions lately.
It's an avatar, not a character.
Yeah, exactly. And so I get what you're saying about the gear, Sharks, but I feel connected to my character because it is an extension of me. Like I feel like when I look at that person that's me in there. And I don't know that I've ever vocalized it like that. I don't know that I've ever thought about it specifically like that. But when you said what you said, Sharks, I immediately thought, oh, you know what? I did it. I did what they were hoping would happen, and that I see myself in there. So yeah, so it's an avatar, not a character. And so how do they double down on that? And you're right. There's going to be a certain amount of people who, well, Gray, you were right. There's going to be a certain amount of people who are disaffected by this, who aren't as interested in it. But I mean, I feel like with Nevin here, if you don't care about the connection between the Hive and the Traveler and the Guardians, then you just don't care about Destiny. How do you get somebody like if you've already played this game and you already are familiar with these things, like this, I feel is just like the broad strokes. Bungie has given us these broad strokes that they will fill in later on. They've drawn a shape of a house, and they haven't gone in and they haven't, this is on this wall over here, or this is the color of the house. We've just barely begun to see what's going on. I mean, how do you, I don't feel like, especially in Nevin's case, I don't feel like a hard reset or even just, trying to forget about Destiny 1. I don't feel like that's going to help at all. Like, how do you reintroduce these characters and these people without having these characters and these people? Agrios, why don't you tell me what you think about all this? Are you on the side where you could just go for a fresh restart, or do you want to carry your stuff over? And I know that you've already answered some of this, but why don't you give us everything that you had thoughts on?
Okay, so if I'm just going to take it from the sort of selfish angle, I would like to take all of my Guardians and all of their stuff with me. But I don't necessarily think that's realistic. I am attached to my Guardians. I think probably I empathize with my Warlock sort of, in the Avatar sort of way you were talking about. Like, I kind of see my Warlock as that's me roaming around out there. My other two characters, though, maybe I don't quite identify with in that same way, but they all have their backstory. They all have a different angle in the Destiny universe. And, like, I feel that angle when I play as that character in the PvE story content. And I think part of that is my own brain and my own imagination applying extra immersion to the situation, just because I do like and play Destiny so much and put so many hours into it that, my imagination has added this content to the situation, sort of. Like, just like, although I intend to, get each of my factions with each of my characters to 25, they each still represent one of those factions in particular. That's like their faction, and it goes into their whole attitude as a character, so to speak.
Totally.
And so I definitely wish to move forward with my characters for that sort of reason. Like, what immersion, what attachment I do have to the world and story of Destiny is through that to a degree. And I know that's part of my own doing, my own development, my own head, as I've put so many hours in and played. But
I think that's really cool.
I think as far as, like, taking everything with us, what happens on a console, whether last gen is limiting it severely or whether, they have a lot of room in next gen, there's still, your memory's still going to limit what you can do. Like, I'm sure these developers, hope for the sun and the moon and would, do everything they possibly could to make the game they're making as awesome as it can be. But obviously they're going to hit some sort of limitations. Now, in order for us to take everything with us, that's a lot of data that's already in the game that, you'd have to carry over to the next product just so people could keep all this stuff around. So
yeah, that's a good point.
When I think about that, that's my concern with the whole take everything. And although, like, to take a couple things would be nice, you're still going to use up the same amount of data because everybody's going to take different stuff. So if you're going to take just what your Guardian's wearing or something like that over, well, you might as well just let you take everything at that point.
Right, that's exactly
put all the models and all that information in for all that, colors, models, all that stuff,
Well, I mean, and that goes right back to, in my opinion and my thoughts, that if they are letting us keep these beginning areas, we talk about the steps a lot. If they allow us to keep going through these strikes, like they have legacy strikes, if they keep letting us go through these older raids, then that makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense to, if you're going to keep everything, then keep everything. And that's the way I think it's going to work. I think, I can't imagine that they're just going to let us keep the exotics. I don't know that I'm so attached to an exotic that I couldn't live without it.
So that all said, if they are going to take them away, I really want a story reason. Like, they're not there anymore or something at the start of the next game isn't going to cut it for me. Like, I'm a big fan of when a game needs to do it partway through. I have no problem with the story being like, oh, you got caught, you're in prison now, they took away everything you have, so now you got to, like, sneak out of here naked. Like, that sort of storyline-based reset works for me. So
Every
if something
Elder
happens
Scrolls
at the end of
game
Destiny
ever.
and the tower gets blown up and our vaults are gone, what was that?
They said every Elder Scrolls game ever.
Right. Okay. Yeah, exactly. And they're taking cues from things way back from before that, I'm sure, too. So, but yeah, if the tower's blown up and our vaults were gone and everything else, and, that's why we don't have our stuff. So we literally just have our characters and, some generic set of armor at the beginning of the next one. I'm okay with that as long as there's a reason.
Yeah, but here's something else to throw into this equation, though, because this is something that other podcasts have debated. Okay, so Destiny 2 drops. Are our Guardians the same? Are we going to have the same supers? And then they just add one more? Or are they going to completely restart all of your supers? You're going to have totally different perks and everything. That throws a big loop into this equation. Are we continuing on with exactly the same as we are, into the next incarnation of Destiny? Or is it like, I'm only quoting this based off of what very limited info I know, but each Halo game was, you're playing with the same people kind of, but the game itself is different.
Yeah. Okay, so what you're saying, and actually Unilala in the chat says, honestly, I'm actually okay with losing everything but my Guardians. I'm probably just conditioned from MMOs, though. So what if they took away all of our gear, but they left all of our rep? Like I've spent a lot of time grinding up rep, and I think that, I mean, this also goes back to how do the veteran players from Destiny 1 represent themselves in Destiny 2? Like, I've spent a lot of time in Destiny, and going forward, I would like my Guardian to be different than the Guardians that show up, even if it's in some worthless old gear that they don't have access to anymore.
I agree with you about the rep. I think that's a stat thing. That should definitely carry on, if you ask me. And one thing I wanted to add at the end there, I think if they were to let us carry something on, like, I think something realistic and would help convey these things, or if your emblems and shaders moved with you.
Yeah.
The things in the kiosks perhaps moved with you.
When you're talking rep, are you talking like gunsmith rank and things like that?
Like dead orbit rank?
Dead orbit.
I actually think that's a bad idea, because it would limit their ability to have missions or special things unlock when you hit certain ranks. If you're a veteran player, do you really want to dive into the game and have all these things immediately unlocked to you without having to kind of go through that journey process?
Once you've done 25 ranks in Destiny 2, so if you start Destiny 2 at 97 and you add 25 ranks to that, once you've added the 25 ranks in Destiny 2, then it would unlock the mission for you.
Yeah, but they would have to make it 50 because they have something at 25 already. And it's just going to lead to a power creep.
Well, I don't know. Okay, so they have something at 25 already, is what you're saying. But if you are just playing Destiny 2, you're not logging into Destiny 1 now. You're logging into Destiny 2. Are you going to still have the option to do that thing that was originally at 25? Or are these all new missions?
Why put it at 25 anyways? Why not start everyone at 0 and
what I'm saying
have it at like rank 5?
You know what I would like to see, and this goes back to what we're talking about here. I would like to see, because I think that it does take a bit of time to get to rank 25. Sure, there are ways that you can grind out to get it there faster, if you put the time into it. But I think that having, like, I just hit 25 with both of my hunters. And so anybody who starts right now is not going to get there anytime soon. They're not getting to 25 anytime soon. And that separates us. And so I would really like to see more incremental steps like that. Like, I know that people who passed 25 in faction rank before exotic faction class items were available, as soon as you logged in, you got the option to go do that mission. So it wasn't, I don't know. I think that you've earned that. So let's say that the next one is 50 for another class item, or like a class, a class heavy weapon or a class primary. Like at 50, if you've already done that, if you've already ground up to 50, I think that you've put that time in. And now I see what you're saying, Agrios, and it makes a lot of sense. So, like, just specifically, if you're already at 75, and this would normally unlock at 50, because it'd be 25 and then 25, and you just did another 25, so it happened at 100, then you unlocked it. But then that takes away their option for what actually happens at 100. So I'm not against it being retroactively.
I kind of feel like it's two separate issues. The first issue is, are the rep systems going to even exist as they are in Destiny 2, as they, like, the way they are in Destiny 1? And if they do exist, if you still have dead orbit rank, for instance, when you get to 25, are you still going to get a quest for an exotic class item in Destiny 2? Or is that an old Destiny 1 thing? It has nothing to do with Destiny 2.
Right, and that's another thing that I'm concerned about, because I do want to have an opportunity to get all of those class items. Like, how long do I have to get those on all my characters before, we're moving on to other stuff.
See, unless Destiny 2 hits like an expansion, like a giant expansion, as in everything in Destiny 1 is just still there and accessible, or you can move over into this other part of the game, please insert disc 2, Destiny 2. Like, there's two different ways they can handle it. Either you can go back to the old stuff, or you can't. Like, if you can go into Destiny 2 and go back and do all the old original Cosmodrome missions on the Cosmodrome, that's fine. But there also might be the case that you go to the Cosmodrome and there's still the Cosmodrome, there, but none of the missions from Destiny 1 are accessible. You'd have to go back and put in Destiny Disc 1 and go play Destiny 1 for that with your character.
So I think that it makes the most sense to still have the grand majority of things available. I can't imagine that we're ever going to go back to seeing the Blades of Crota running around the Cosmodrome, and that's fine. I can't imagine that we're going to go back to a time period when there was the wolves, roaming different areas.
So you think someone who's going to go play Destiny 2, like, we're just going to get like another 20 gigs of data on top of the data that's like already in our system, and that's how much space Destiny 2 is going to take up? Like, if you're a player who's just starting Destiny 2, like, are you going to have to play? You're saying, are you going to have to play through Destiny 1, or are they just going to start you at Destiny 2? Are they going to have access to go back to that, or what are we saying here?
So
are we just going to keep getting a bigger and bigger file?
Well, Halo 5 on my Xbox is some kind of almost 90 gigabytes of space. And that's compared to like 35 gigabytes for Destiny. So I think that we have a while before we're even catching up to some of this current gen games. Like even Just Cause 3 is is a bigger file download. Actually, a couple of games that I have are bigger than Destiny right now. And I think with the amount of time and money and blood, sweat, and tears that they put into all of this year 1, year 2 content, I think that it only makes sense for them to keep having people have access to it. It's still valuable. Like going into year 4, there's going to be people who have never played Destiny before, and I think that having this older content is still valuable. It's still valuable to a lot of people. I would still really like to have access to all of this stuff, and I think that dollar cost wise, it makes a lot of sense. Like there's a lot of story in there. There's a lot of just playability in there. So yes, I think that it makes the most sense for them to just keep piling on more stuff. I get what you're saying though, and I understand that at some point there has to be a cutoff, right? Like, except for games like specifically World of Warcraft, who continue to move up with new generations of gear, right?
And they're not on consoles either.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're on PCs, and the PC world is a much different creature than the console world.
It's also an expansion where it completely changed most of the zones of vanilla. So,
yeah,
I have another concern though, Remy. I'm crossing my fingers with the clear break from last gen to current gen, that we are getting a whole new engine with Destiny 2. And if that's the case, if they built a whole new engine, they have to make a decision then. Do we rebuild everything verbatim to what Destiny 1 was to make your dream a reality? Or are we satisfied knowing that we can bundle, we can give away, we can do whatever so that they still have access to original Destiny? I mean, they can still pick up the old game and put it in and install it and play it if they want to.
I see what you're saying. I mean, we are on the cusp of having a selectable patrol mode, right? We discussed last time that you'll be able to select either this new Cosmodrome or the old Cosmodrome, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds like what they're going to do.
Okay, so I think that's one of the things that we're looking at. What if you didn't have to have any of the Destiny year 1/2 content in order to play what they're having? It would be an additional download. Like you could either play the 50 gigabytes that all of it is going to be, or you could just take the 25 gigabytes that the new stuff is going to be. Like I think it could be it could be selectable. But I really like the idea of having all of the stuff, or at least within some kind of reason. And
but
this
you don't want to just have all the stuff. You want to have it all in one package, because you can still have all this stuff just in 2 packages. Well,
I think that what we're seeing is that it's okay. So I realized that with the Taken King, it was like download only. Like this is how they separated those who purchased the content from those who just play on the same console. Like it's not a shareable thing. There are workarounds so that people can still play Taken King that haven't purchased it, but it had to be connected to your gamer tag in order for it to be unlocked. Like whenever my son plays, he has to log into me first and then start the game and then log me out, and then I log back into my other Xbox. So I'm thinking that this is just a sign of the times. Like I think that in order to make the material available to only those who've paid for it, it's going to continue to be a download to your gamer tag kind of deal. It's really the only way that they're going to be able to keep any kind of real tabs on people. And so I don't know. I forgot what the question was. I'm talking about Destiny, enjoying life. What was the question?
It was in regards to Destiny 2 and carrying over your stuff as well as caring about story.
Yeah, I just can't imagine them taking all of the content that they've already created and just saying, all right, well none of this is accessible anymore.
So, considering we've been through everyone except me and CrimZon, and it's been a 40-minute almost an hour long topic. I'll just rush into mine.
Do it.
So, firstly, I'm going to paint a picture in your minds, and I want you to all close your eyes. Agrios, I know your eyes are not closed. So,
how did you know that?
Psychic. So, what you're going to do, into Destiny 1, the final cutscene, at the very end, giant darkness looms over top the tower, blows everything up. Cut the darkness. That's it.
Okay.
Destiny 2 starts, you wake up, your armor's all busted, and you get taken off on a stretcher or something, or your ghost reconstitutes you. And the first thing that it gets to do to you is much like Mass Effect. It pulls your old character data, and it's like, do you want to change your customization, or do you want to change what you look like? And then goes on from there.
And so then you just start fresh from there?
You basically, you pulled your old Guardian. It's your old Guardian. However, you can make it look like whatever you want. Now, as far as factions, bring them all back, but slightly different. And you can have, a reset on all the faction, just because if you go into Destiny 2 and you haven't played any of Destiny 1, you are at such a disadvantage that it's almost impossible to get to the level that other people are at. If everyone's at I got 50 ranks in this faction.
But do they need to catch up? Why do they need to catch up?
Because apparently there's something super special at 25.
No, but that's why I'm saying only do it the same from everybody once you enter Destiny 2. In order to unlock this new quest for Dead Orbit, you must complete 25 more ranks with them. No matter who you are or where you're at, you complete 25 more ranks, you open it.
Yeah, but then someone's like, oh, why do I got to go to 100 when someone else is just at 25?
Right,
No,
and what happens when you get to 100?
Everybody only would need to complete 25 more ranks.
Well, Jen's is saying, what if you're already at 75?
Yeah, it's unfair to them, too, because it's like, oh, well, why do I got to go to 100 to unlock the same thing that someone at 25 gets?
No, but you don't have to go to 100. It's the same number of levels. You have to complete 25 ranks for Dead Orbit.
He's saying
75 to 100
is 25 levels.
It's 25 levels. 0 to 25 is 25 levels. Now, it's also
is this math class with Jez?
It's also a little bit different because the 1 to 5 levels are lower. I can't remember what number.
You just have to change that too. Every level would just require the same amount of rep in Destiny 2.
They should steal from World of Warcraft and have factions have a cap.
Is it a moving cap?
Dedication you've
No,
given to.
it's not a moving cap. It's like you get a rank in a faction. You get you start at neutral. You go up to friendly, honored, revered, exalted, and then that's the end.
Status, not really a like a rep. It's more of a status.
It's a rep.
Can it go down?
Gain. No, it doesn't go down.
Okay.
Unless there's certain ones that like are two opposing reps, and when you gain one,
That's
the other one goes down.
Why they use it as a status, because it can go down.
Wow, almost none of them go down. It's just very few.
Let's get to the bone of this. So do you think that all of our stuff should carry over, or some of our stuff should carry over, or did the picture you paint, also closing my eyes and listening to you talk changes your voice to me, or did the picture you paint, is that what you would like to see done? Would you like going into Destiny 2? There's a big explosion and you have to be reconstituted and you don't get any of your crap.
I want it to be a secondary disc, maybe like a completely different game, basically, that uses some of the old data. Like all your old weapons and shit are kind of useless. However, give callbacks to those by being able to recollect them. You might hate that, but maybe there's a transmogrification system in Destiny 2 and it won't matter.
I was thinking that would be funny if all of the stuff that you had was at some point trotted out as like a gift, like, oh hey, we've been working on your vault saves and we found these pieces of gear.
So one thing that they could do is bring the shaders that people really like into Destiny 2 as like already unlocked if you had them in the old system. Like maybe he's limited to 10 shaders that people really use, like the most popular.
I would like if they just carry, like I said before, like all the shaders and emblems, because I think that's a good, sort of look what I've earned. This is like, these are my badges of honor from my battles I've been through type sort of thing.
Well, see, the problem with that, though, is you're going to be bringing shaders. Like, yeah, give us the raid shaders, like, bring those over. But all you're like, oh, I got a blue 66 shader from inputting a code on the website before the game launched. That kind of is just wasting data because no one's using it.
And it's part of my collection.
I think it just adds more variety of ways people can choose to look. I mean, I see people wearing god-awful shaders in the tower all the time that I'd never wear.
All the time.
Yeah, but is it part of your collection if it's something that's not part of the next expansion's collections?
Okay, check this out. So there is an emblem called the Inner Circle or the Inner Chamber, and it looks like the symbol for Third Eye. And what it is, I think it's the one that I'm thinking of. It's if you've played like every Bungie game that was on the Xbox, you got this. I don't ever wear it. Because I don't think it's really that great looking. But I love having it in my collection. Like I love that at some point I could trot that out. It's something that many people don't have. I bet Agrios doesn't have it. So it's like there's certain things that are special to me, even though I don't ever plan on wearing it. I don't ever plan on wearing that. But that's not to say that I couldn't wear it and having it be part of my collection. I feel like a lot of this data is like so minuscule, specifically shaders and emblems. Like how big could any single emblem possibly be in terms of megabytes or even kilobytes? Like we're talking about such an infinitesimal number that it just you could have 1 million of them and it still wouldn't break the bank. I think that with last gen there was a lot of problems putting too many images on the screen at one time. I think that with us cutting off last gen, this is something it's no longer a concern. And so I just keep coming back to letting us carry over everything. But then again, you know, are we really going to need any of that stuff? I mean, I still wish that I hadn't deleted some blues and greens that I did from year one, just because, like, I'm going to take a picture of my son's vault and tweet it out because it's really adorable. He's got like a bunch of stuff from year one because the vault grew faster than he could put stuff into it. So he's got a bunch of really great gear that I wish I still had that I had to delete for other stuff that I just ended up deleting. Like it's bothersome to me.
See, the reason why I'm not sure how important it is with the game being built from the ground up to be next gen only. We could have 4-tone shaders, or we could have different color palettes, like metallics instead of whatever, or even some that add hazes, like that taken effect only on whatever color you want. Like, there's more that can be done.
What do you guys think about this as an idea? And I know it doesn't directly fix the issue, but what if when you're in Destiny 2 and somebody carried a character over from year one, when you went to inspect that player, there was a legacy tab, which basically was sort of like a cleaned up version of the Bungie net that kind of went through some of the highlights of what that player did in Destiny 1. And you could even maybe be a little selective on what you wanted to have on there. If you wanted to have it show that you had this special Bungie emblem and that was identified, or it showed some of the accomplishments or even some of your stats. You know, if you were somebody that happened to be in the top 4% for trials, that would show up on that legacy tab.
I think that all of this story that you're saying roughly is already being represented in the emblems. Like, I've got a year one moment of triumphs, like that's come and gone, and that says that I did a certain amount of things, X amount of things in order to get that. Same thing with the trials. Like, they could make a new one for top 5%, or they could just go with the one that you get when you go to the lighthouse. Like, that is already a big deal. You know, that is already a metric that Bungie uses right now. I have to get
the downside is they can only see one at a time, and it's whatever you choose to be the one at that time.
You know what? It would be cool to have like these are the things that represent me list. But in that case, give me a box for text so that I can type in the background of my Guardian. Like, I really want to type the background of my Guardian into.
You know what really bothers?
You just type swear words.
You know what really bothers me? That they took the Grimoire score off of the nameplate. That really annoys me. Like, I really like seeing that before. I would notice other people's and talk about it. You know, like, wow, it's nice Grimoire score, stuff like that. And they took that off, so that way now we can know what level everybody is. We know everybody's 40. Good thing we know that now. And
thank goodness.
It just bugged me to no end that they chose to rearrange that and add that useless piece of information.
Right. I agree. That's way a shame. And Grimoire actually is a really great. It's a really great metric for seeing how far along people are in the game. You know, if you run across somebody with 2,000 Grimoire, they've only played for so long. So that's a really good point, Agrios. I would really like it if they brought that back.
It's a good thing we know that everybody's level 40.
Right. Thank goodness. It's more rare when somebody's not level 40. Crimson Warlock. I did not mean for it to be an hour before we got to you on this subject, but I enjoy talking, and Gray enjoys talking, and Shark enjoys talking, and Agrios enjoys talking, and Jez, for some reason, has picked up the bad habit of just interrupting, and that's my bad habit, Jez. Thank you very much. Crimson Warlock, what do you think about this? Should all of our gear transfer? Should some of our gear transfer? Do you think a clean break is a good idea or necessary? And what do you think about year one, year two content being brought forward in a style not unlike World of Warcraft?
Okay, so this is a lot to hit, and a lot of you guys, I might be repeating a lot of what's said, but in my opinion, what I'd like to see with Destiny 2 is a clean break of sorts. I did kind of like Jez's idea of a reset of some sort of event, but I'd like it to go down a little bit differently. And these are my quick thoughts on it. What I'd like to see is, you load up Destiny 2, and it's got your guardians from Destiny 1, and you select that guardian. Then it goes into the story, and come to find out when you can control yourself that you're not that guardian anymore. And the speaker, just like he did at the end of the first mission, is kind of cryptic on what's going on. But he basically says, we don't know what happened to that guardian, but he saved us. And we do know that he was with the stranger. And just kind of go down, unless we get a lot more story on the stranger, use the stranger. The Exo stranger is the one who took our guardian to go do something. And we don't know what. But as we journey through Destiny 2, our guardian has left this new guardian that we're in control of a legend to follow. We find pieces of gear, we find notes, we find an exotic weapon that our guardian used, and we power it back up. Things like that, because that's what makes a legend.
Okay.
Sort
This
of like
is
Knights of the Old Republic.
Sort of like, so yeah, kind of like in the Old Republic, where there's these living legends that have lived before us, and we're kind of retracing their steps. I mean, I don't want to say this would follow a story, I guess. I don't know much because I don't follow the game, but kind of Halo 5, you're hunting down the Master Chief, right? In this one, this particular story, you're not exactly hunting your guardian down. You're just trying to find that old guardian again, to learn what happened. The speaker's giving you this mission to go find out. That would be, in the lore of Destiny, that would be a perfect break. And if you're going through the way the lore is, how crazy it's been, maybe you'll find Praedyth in a different timeline or something. They could pull in tons of this old lore that would totally make complete sense.
I would still like to meet up with Praedyth at some point. Like no matter what they end up doing, I would love that to be part of some story, is that you're transported to some time, and you cross paths with him.
You met him. You met him already. He lost a little weight, but he was still there.
It's true. So that's kind of what I would love to see. Maybe the speaker in the tower there's a tribute to your old guardian that you selected, and that tribute, as you find more relics of your guardian's past, you fill up this hall, and that's maybe some of the things you can select, and it's from year one, and it makes you unique. Or from Destiny 1, you find your guardian's old Mida multi-tool, and it's kind of scratched up, but you power it back up, and it has your guardian's name on it or something. Just something that could kind of show tributes to the things that you've done. But again,
time goes on, and you complete Destiny 4, and in Destiny 4 you go back in time and you help a young Marisov overthrow the Fallen, and then you become known as, eventually over time, as the legendary Praedyth, and eventually go into the place known as the Vault of Glass with the fire team at 5.
Exactly.
All right.
So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff they could do, but I honestly feel like, again, moving like what Gray said, moving to hopefully a new engine. I feel like a clean break would be needed, just to kind of introduce the new engine, why things look different or are different, etc., etc. I mean, just like the jump from Halo 1 to Halo 2 was pretty, at least graphically, it was pretty impressive. that we might see something like that even. So a clean break might be very necessary. Another thing that I was going to mention was, we've been comparing this to World of Warcraft, but in a clean break kind of thing, maybe Final Fantasy 14 might be a better way to kind of show a comparison. And a quick history: Final Fantasy 14 1.0 launched, and it tanked bad. It did not meet a lot of expectations, and pretty much it was an embarrassment to Square Enix. It wasn't up to the quality that they usually produce for a Final Fantasy game, for sure. And because of that, they created a cataclysmic event and destroyed basically the 1.0 game. And from then, the game was still playable, but they were in development for what is known as a Realm Reborn or 2.0, and they basically relaunched the game. But for all those people who had played 1.0, they got a lot of collectibles that kind of showed, hey, I played 1.0, mounts, minions, things like that follow you around. And those were kind of the things that when you see people who play the game still and they have those out, you're like, well, that's cool that this person's still playing. But the 2.0 was a completely brand new game, brand new story, totally revamped, but it still kept the 14 title. And maybe that might be something we could see with Destiny in a way. I mean, this is Destiny 2, a new game, but definitely a complete break from the story, but still has hints of the past, might be something good for Destiny, and might bring back a lot of players who weren't happy with the vanilla Destiny release.
Okay. That's I don't know how they're going to do it, but until they screw it up, I trust them to make the right decision. I really want to keep a lot of the stuff that I've been keeping, or else there's really been no. What would make me the most upset about if we didn't get to keep the stuff that we're holding on to right now is all the hours that I've spent playing Destiny item management in the tower. Like if we don't get to keep the stuff that we've been holding on to all this time, the stuff that's been keeping me at the very edge of my vault since Destiny basically started, if we don't get to keep that, I'm going to be upset because I've spent hours and hours and hours trying to debate back and forth on which gear I keep and which gear moves forward in my keeping it. Like that's what's going to make me the most upset. If we don't get to keep our gear, why did I spend all of this time trying to figure out how to put this in?
Remy, man. You gotta remember, you're the sum of your experiences, not your things.
I know, but that's the answer. The sum of my experiences is the stuff that I've gathered.
Well, the worst part about that is that's not hours wasted on Destiny because they don't log that.
Right. I've spent so many hours in the tower. What were you going to say, Agrios?
So I already felt that way. I already hit that point when they changed my I kept one outfit from vanilla Destiny. It was like this sweet, the brown like leather jacket look. It's like shiny brown leather and it's without a shader on and stuff. And it was Nurgle Savant, right? Yeah. I kept that outfit from vanilla Destiny, and that was like the one go back on my main, just regular legendary outfit that I had put on. I played through, hundreds of hours of Destiny and Vault of Glass wearing, that outfit early on. And that was like my one keeper. And then shortly, when they did that whole thing with the Dead Orbit scarf that everybody's familiar with, my outfit also got hit. So when that happened, I hit that point already. That you felt like time wasted and stuff. That's when I hit that, like, well, I feel like I've wasted a lot of time, like, keeping this stuff around that. And I don't know when they're going to pull this again. So I stopped investing in gear in that way.
Yeah. And that's troubling to me. I don't want to feel that. Like I already sort of felt that when they started changing the gear around. but I feel like because I probably put somewhere between a quarter to a tenth as much time as you put into it, I wasn't so let down. But still, I've got more hours logged in than a lot of people. And so
you might have more hours than me at this point.
I don't know. I might have caught up, but I don't know.
You weren't terribly far behind us. You put a lot of hours in early on, but anyway.
I think that if we added up both systems, I might have a chance. Okay, let's move on. This is all depressing. I don't want to talk about it anymore. But thank you very much, Nevin, for supplying that thought. As soon as I read his post, I was like, oh man, I got to know what the guys think, is this where we break off from all of our stuff? Like, I just can't even imagine it. I just can't even imagine breaking off from all of our stuff. And at the same time, it makes a lot of sense. Do I really need to keep Fangriver Ute that I'm not ever going to use again? But I've been holding on to it. But seriously, the sooner they tell us what their plans are for that, the sooner I'm going to be over it by the time it happens. So, I don't know. They're, like we've talked about before, Agrios, they're talking out of both sides of their mouth. The people who played year 1, they got a bunch of cool stuff that people in year 2 start playing. And people in year 2, they're not going to have it, and so it's like, well, are we collecting this stuff or is this all trash? Which is it, Bungie? You tell us.
Well, I would say we got an answer in the form of the kiosks.
See,
yeah.
You guys complain one thing about not being able to pick up old stuff, and then wanting a system that, year 3 players can't pick up the old stuff.
What's that?
I said you want a system where, or you're mad that you have a system that you can't pick up old stuff. Like, you don't know when the Trials of Osiris emblem is going to go away for good, or you don't know when the class item exotics are going to go away from good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you want a system that year 3 Guardians that just start playing can't pick up the stuff that you could pick up in year 1.
I don't have that complaint. And yes, I agree with David.
I mean, if they're going to take away the option to keep getting it, then I want to keep my stuff. Like, if they're going to continue to allow people that start playing in year 3 to keep getting stuff from year 1, then I don't know. It's time to move on. My brain is mush from this. And that takes us to Agrios. What you got for us this week, Agrios? Oh, I wanted to say last week's movie of the week was excellent. You were definitely right about that, and I highly suggest people go and do it. I've been working on my sparrow tricking, but I've only been doing it using the one side, and he was using it both left and right jets in order to propel himself forward, and I hadn't thought about doing that, and now I'm going to practice doing that. But why don't you tell us about what this week at Bungie has brought us?
Yeah, that Sparrow trick video last week was just amazing. He did things that I didn't know were possible on a Sparrow, like jump to places that I couldn't jump my Guardian to, let alone with my Sparrow intact. And so this week we had an update. It fixed a couple things that were plaguing Destiny. In particular, Sunsingers are viable again. They fixed an issue where solar-based damage over time effects were dealing half their intended damage. They also fixed an issue where the intellect stat was not generating the correct amount of super energy, and an issue where selecting electrostatic mine perk removed the super generation provided by the intellect stat. So those are all bad for the things that the people those were happening to, primarily warlocks. They also fixed a couple other minor issues in the game involving rewards from dailies, the Moments of Triumph book, and Apotheosis Veil being available from the kiosk. This, however, did create a number of errors for players. We saw people having a lot of problems with Beaver in Destiny, and there was another patch issue by Destiny to hopefully correct that for everybody.
That plagued me. I couldn't even get to the tower for the longest time last night. It was crazy. I was in the middle of several games, and I just kept getting dropped out of it. Even ones where I did really good, like we were winning, and then I'd get dropped to orbit. That's a bummer. Like I feel for the people. Like I've never had as many errors as I did in this last couple of days in all of my time playing Destiny. Continue.
So continuing through the weekly update this week, they feature an organization known as Stack Up that is involved with helping out veterans in a variety of ways. They have an event coming up. It's the Call to Arms 2016. It's going to take place on August 6th, 7th, and 8th, and it features a number of streamers from the community.
Very
And
cool.
I love how Destiny is so involved with these sorts of things in community. There's always sorts of events like this going on, both sponsored by Bungie and just with the streamers in the community. And I don't see anything like this on this level for other games. So I'm always impressed about this nature of Destiny.
I agree, absolutely. Continuing,
they have an update on the delivery of a number of the orders. There's been overwhelming response for a lot of the merchandise involved with the charity work that they've been doing, but people should be getting all their merchandise in good time now. So if you have any of these things on order or the Moments of Triumph and shirts, you should be able to be looking for these coming soon. They've also added an email when available feature to the product pages on the Bungie store. So if you're looking to get something, you can find out when it comes back into stock.
outstanding. Does that include the tricorn pin?
I have no idea what specific items it covers, to be honest.
Got it.
Moving on to the Elder Champion, the Arena of Elders Challenge. The team who has been in first place is still in first place for the 6th week running. No one's been able to knock them out. There's a lot of people close. I mean, less than 10,000 away. But these guys are certainly dedicated, to say the least. So this is impressive. SD Battlefront, Red Sox 007, and Blaze Boss 17 are on top again.
I feel like in order to bring down their records, like you would have to be really, really on top of your game. I don't see myself doing that. Like they've clearly got a very good, a very well-oiled machine. When they go in, they know exactly what to expect, and so they're really kicking ass there. And when I see somebody ruling so hard over a specific area, I just lose interest. Like I don't have the amount of time that it would take to do that. Like I don't have the amount of time that it would take to put in to try and rival their scores. Especially like looking at the people who came in second and third, they're still a ways away. Like that's a pretty impressive amount of points that they are away. Like 9,000 points, like that's nothing to scoff at when you're looking at, here's 100 points, here's 200 points, Did anyone here even try for this? Try to do this? Is anyone here still playing the Challenge of Elders?
I have not.
I've stopped playing it.
I'm still doing it, and I
but
get up to
usually
about
2 people.
45,000. That's about as good as I'm able to do with our team.
Now, is that something? Are you trying to squeeze out as many points as you can?
We are, but mainly our goal is to try to do it in 2 runs, so we can get the armor piece just in 2 runs.
Yeah,
but
that
we're
makes
still
a lot
trying
of
to
sense.
get max points that we can.
Sharks, where are you on this board? Like, do you come close to this, or are you just doing what Gray is doing and just going in and getting it done in as few times as possible?
Going in, getting it done as few times as possible with a team of 2.
Got it. I really need to connect with you on that, because if you've got an open space, I should just be there. I should just be there. Very cool. I'm hoping to see more of this as time goes on, like other point based things. Like I mean, again, the world is a really big place, and going up against everybody in the world is pretty daunting. But congratulations to them. I'm glad that they've kept this up, and I don't see anybody taking them down. I mean, third place had 70,000 points. That's like, I don't even know. That's ridiculous. Congratulations to them. Moving on.
So next, I have the movie of the week. The movie of the week this week is called Our Greatest Adventure, a Destiny NASA documentary, and it's a very, very well made, very creative use of documentary audio recordings along with a variety of scenes from Destiny. And it's a good watch. I thought it was, at first, when I first started playing it, I thought it was going to be another one of the Carl Sagan speeches at first.
Yeah. I think that's where this came from. It definitely was awesome. They did a really good job. I just couldn't stop thinking about the Carl Sagan version, which I absolutely loved. I loved Carl Sagan. Like what a
He's a great dude.
What a very unique individual, and what a great, like, his mind was clearly open to possibilities, and it didn't let him. The world never stopped him from asking questions, and his series Cosmos is absolutely fantastic. Like, the questions he brings up and the answers that he posits are amazing. And so as I watched this, I just kept thinking, man, I should just go watch that Carl Sagan one. So it was cool. They did a really good job. I just couldn't stop thinking about Carl Sagan. And then I started missing him, and then I started thinking, man, I bet he would really love Destiny, at least in a nightmarish type of situation, you know. But yeah, very, very cool video. I can see why it won. Anyways, moving on.
And I haven't had a chance personally to watch the runners-up this week, but as always, I recommend everybody gives all them a check out. They're usually at least worth watching. They closed the weekly update by reminding us that the next stop is going to be Gamescom. That's where we're going to get our next chunk of Rise of Iron info. And they also note that after that, they'll be at PAX. And so that's what we can look forward to, getting our next Destiny fixes. Do you think what all do you think they're going to reveal at Gamescom, Remy? I mean, we're going to get our Crucible mode, right?
I think that's what I'm hearing.
Right. So, and do you think that's going to be playable there? I would assume, if they're going to announce it there.
I think that because they have Peasant Guard there, like they're going to have all the Peasant Guard there, I think it's going to be a big reveal. Like there's actually a huge list of people that are going to be part of this reveal. And so I think it's going to be a big reveal. I'm excited. I'm excited for all of those guys. What's that?
Is there any chance that you think that the new game mode will be SRL? And how do you think the community overall will react to that?
I think that they're going to keep SRL as a special. I think they're going to keep SRL as like a holiday type thing. I think it's going to stay as like a 3-week event. It could definitely be SRL. Like you're talking about, like them adding it to like Rumble and Skirmish and all of these other ones that are always accessible.
Right, yeah. With Rise of Iron, SRL will be part of, at very least, a weekly rotating, how they have the ones on the weekly rotation, at very least that, if not a permanent game mode.
Yeah, I don't imagine that it's going to be a permanent game mode, mostly because of the way they handled the stat keeping. Like $10 was too much for that book. But I think that they were on the right track, and that every time I look at that book, it reminds me of that time period, and then I can go and I can just see the stats, like how many times I ran these things. I feel like that is is a really big center of what's happening with that. I think that there's a greater chance that it could be private matches, but more than that, I think it's just going to be like a revamped. What was that thing that I was always so pissed off about because their advertising of it was never accurate? Combined arms. I was so furious every time they started talking about combined arms because it was a letdown of a game mode, and it wasn't any bigger. It wasn't any bigger than any regular game, and you could be put on the same map with the same gear, and it just never felt like it was worth even playing. I was just so furious every time they would talk about it. So I think it's a revised combined arms or something along that lines. Like I think it's just going to be a new game mode like Mayhem or Clash or Control. Like that's what I think it's going to be. But people have been absolutely clamoring for private matches, and I don't think it's private matches because I think that it's still too early in Destiny's life cycle. And, like that's something that I see them rolling out at like year 4 or year 5 or even year 6. I
hope it doesn't take that long.
Something that would revitalize the community. Like imagine they've squeezed everybody for all of their attention span in Destiny, and then they add, here are private matches,
I feel like that's going to be a selling point for some people on Destiny 2.
Yeah.
I feel definitely like people that if that's not in the news that's going to be coming in Destiny 2, they're not going to get on board.
It would definitely be a huge selling point. Like people have wanted it for a long time. I really wanted it in the very beginning. There's so much that can be done with private matches. I feel like private matches lead right into altering maps, even on a very small basis. But I don't know. I hope for the community that it is private matches. Like private tournaments would be amazing. Like even just in your own clan, like Guardian 1 could sit down and have like a rumble. It would be so much fun to rumble with other people in this group instead of it being like Big Nuts 25 or whatever. Like I don't want to play with that guy. Like he obviously has poor taste, and so I don't want to play with him. Like I want to play against Sharks, even though playing against Sharks is scary. It's fun, like seeing him.
We want to take on another podcast or something just for fun, or like
yeah.
Instead will take place, we're already, we were just talking about how the Destiny community is with the charity events and stuff. There'll be all kinds of so-and-so plays so-and-so for charity,
Right.
I wouldn't be so hasty to dismiss Big Nuts. Maybe he's an Academia of Macadamia.
I see what you're saying, Jez, in the whole don't judge a book by its cover, but there's a reason that book has that cover. Like it's kind of like this is what's inside.
That Remy was probably referring to some people with even more creative names that are off-putting that are out there and just wasn't looking to say something worse than Big Nuts on the podcast. I'm going to be trying to say that probably.
I just wanted to say Academia of Macadamia.
Right. But yeah, I for the community, I hope it's private matches. For the record, I think it's going to be something much less interesting than that, but still interesting the same. Like I remember when Mayhem was introduced, I still love it. I still love playing Mayhem. Like that's a great mode. That's when it says it says enjoy yourself, Guardians - Shacks. Like that's cool. It's alluding to the fact that here's your grenades back, here's your melee back, here's your super back. Like it's craziness. It's mayhem. It's absolute mayhem. And so I think that it's going to be something along those lines. Gray, Sharks, Jez, CrimZon, just throw it out there, whatever you guys have to say right now.
Excited,
right,
new game mode, lots of fun.
I think it's going to definitely be there and playable because that's what they do every year at Gamescom.
When
My
is Gamescom?
PSN handle is BigNuts49. Just want everybody to know.
I'm glad to know you. I'm glad to know you take me seriously.
Whatever game mode, I was just gonna say, whatever game mode comes out, it's probably just gonna create more spreadsheets. So spreadsheets. More data to look at for optimal builds, most likely.
Definitely.
Give Reddit
Unilala.
users something to do.
I'm with Unilala. I want Warzone.
Yeah, I want Warzone too. That would be really fun. Or 3v3. Or you know what I've really been thinking a lot about, and this is due to the exotic class item quest line. I've really been thinking that it would be super excellent for faction wars to be you have to wear faction color and a faction class item and faction gear with faction weapons. Like I think that would be like this would be taking the idea behind Trials and bumping it up to the next level of seriousness. Like if you're that serious, you're going to find a really interesting cross section of multiplayer. I think it would be awesome to have to represent, and this is from, in order to fill up this in order to fulfill the quest, you have to be wearing a shader and a class item and an emblem from that thing. So it's I don't know. I think
3v3 would be awesome too.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so is that all we have on that? When was Gamescom? Do we have a?
It's the 18th through the 21st
of August.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then PAX. I'm really excited that Bungie is going to be at PAX. I actually have only purchased a pass for Monday, which I know is like everybody's packing up and going. But I went on Monday like 2 years ago, and people were just giving away everything they had left in the booth. And that was really excellent. I guess they didn't want to take it home with them. So I'm excited. I'm going to see Lays Summerstone. He's going to be there on Monday. And if there's any Destiny activities taking part outside of PAX, I will definitely be attempting to go to those.
Hopefully somebody organizes a meetup in that area. If no one does, you should.
Yeah, I really should. Maybe I'll
up and
work
get
on
drunk.
Well, that's the plan, right?
That's my entire weekend. That weekend.
Oh man, when is that? Do we have a definitive date, Jez, for the 2016 beer pong and pig roast tournament?
We don't have a day, but it's happening.
Well, I've already signed up and been pre-approved, so I'm looking forward to attending. I think it's going to be awesome.
We're the stupidest clan ever.
I don't know, man. Big Nuts was in a clan too. Oh my god, I think it was math class.
Could have been.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to those
Probably
things. I'm looking forward to the reveals that they do, but I don't know, this last stream they said that they wanted to leave a lot for people to explore and figure out on their own. So I don't know. Bungie's really good at keeping their mouth shut about things that are happening. The people that work for them are really good about that for the most part too. So I don't know. Moving on. What else we got, Agrios? Agrios, are you there?
Oh, yeah, I was muted. I'm sorry. Yeah, that pretty much wraps up everything I got. There's going to be DestinyCons coming up in Florida in August here.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be really cool if Bungie actually showed up for that. I mean, there's a lot of people were at it last year, and I imagine there's going to be a lot more at it this year. A lot of names in the community too. I think it would be pretty cool if, Bungie had any sort of representation there. I'm looking forward to it either way.
And it's funny because I'm a big fan of telling Bungie just how it is or just what I think. Like I'm not afraid of them disowning me or not wanting me to talk about or represent their product. And really, after seeing all of the people that are going to that, Bungie doesn't even need to be there. There's so many big names headed to that DestinyCon that it's a being of its own. And I see what you're saying. It would be cool if there was somebody there, like to represent or to hand stuff out, or even just to walk around and chit chat with people because that's
or
really
announce
special.
Something at a community event. That would be cool. Just give us a little bit.
That would be really cool. But yeah, with all the people going there, like I wouldn't even they don't even need to go. Like there's so many excellent community members going. They can just stay home, work on the game, and we will buy that game and we will play it.
See, the problem though with most of that is PAX is like that weekend after.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, they're super close together.
Yeah, I could see that being a problem. All right, and you are going to that? You're already signed up and everything, Agrios?
I'm not signed up yet, but I intend to go. Hopefully, is there still availability? I haven't looked recently. I hope there is.
I don't know, but I contacted the person who's curating the website, and we're listed there as attending. So
well, Kate, I'm going to be there for sure already. I intend to go, but I haven't actually signed up yet. But I should probably get on that.
So then what you should do is just contact K-Dub, see what he's done to sign up. But
the only other piece of actual news that I have is that they're trying to arrange a Destiny the game sub day in game, celebrating all the followers of the Destiny subreddit.
Oh man,
are we breaking up?
Yeah, I lost you at a piece of. Are you there?
I think we're good now.
Okay.
I'm not sure where exactly I fell off at.
It was at the beginning. Whatever you're talking about right now is at the beginning of that.
Okay, so the Destiny the Game subreddit, they're arranging a Destiny the Game subreddit day in actual game on September 19th. So there's some time before this, but they're having everybody in celebration. If you're a Destiny the Game subreddit follower, to equip Glowhoo or Aurora Blur and the sign of the Finnet in game that day in celebration of your participation there. So I think that's kind of a cool thing. I like little community events like this. So
that is cool. When is it happening again?
September 19th.
September 19th.
Quite a bit.
Excellent. I will definitely be doing that as well. What else you got?
That's everything. That wraps up everything I got this week. Not too much in the news. Extra. Oh no, there was one other thing. I almost forgot about it. There was a leak on Amazon. It was by Activision's official account. There was a posting of a Destiny collection. So people theorize that this would be for people who are just entering the game. This would be, Rise of Iron and everything up through TTK. And it was listed for $50, I believe. And it was taken down very quickly after it was listed. But it was definitely listed by Activision's official account.
Wow.
On Amazon. So
that's really cool. And that goes that's awesome. Being able to pick up right in Rise of Iron with all that other stuff, that's going to be important, I think. Very cool. Okay, so we got just a couple minutes here. Is there anything that anybody wants to talk about before we go? Gray, is there anything that you want to bring up or chit chat about before we go?
Yeah, I want to go around the horn with those of you who have not finished your Moments of Triumph Year 2 and get an update on your progress.
Crimson Warlock.
I still need to finished my exotic swords. I've got all 3 of them on the last strike. So I just need friends to do that with.
I can help you anytime you want, Crimson. I have one to do still.
And I just finished the Crucible Combat quest. And due to all of the server errors, like Shax wouldn't give me the next quest, and I haven't logged on since. So I'm hoping when I get on tonight that he'll give me the next one. If not, I'm going to be contacting Bungie to be like, can you please help me so I can finish this long question?
That's
so that's where I'm at. Yeah, I know. I'm kind of worried, but I mean, I could probably pick it up on my Titan if I have to.
I do know that when they restructured the quests, certain stages they gave you multiple quests at the same time to work on. Are you sure this next one isn't unlocked when you complete more than one? Are you sure there's not another one there that you need to complete to unlock the next one still, is what I'm saying? Because
yes, I have 5, I have 5 quests.
One at a time.
I have 5 quests in my log, and 4 of those are exotic. And the other one is not a PvP one, so yeah. I don't have anything else to do like quest wise. I need to pick up the next quest. He just wasn't giving it to me with all the server errors. So we'll see if he gives it to me tonight.
Well, good luck with that.
Will you be buying the shirt, Crimson Warlock?
As soon as I unlock it, yes, I will order it because I think that's really cool.
Jez, how are you on your Moments of Triumph Year 2?
I haven't started my Moments of Triumph Year 3, but yeah, I'm done too.
Okay. Are you buying the shirt or no?
No, I don't like the colors.
Got it. Agrios, how far along are you?
I have everything done except for my 50 Cals 5 fragments, and that's just because I neglected to go do Golgoroth challenge on the character that I have collected the fragments on this past time he was up. So as soon as he pops up again, I'll get my Cals 5 fragment from him, and I still have like 2 on the Dreadnought I need to go get, but I know where they're at. Just haven't gone and got them yet.
Will you be buying the shirt?
I likely. I like things like that. I like commemorative sort of shirts in that sort of regard. So, like for events, and I sort of consider this like an event shirt almost. So yeah, I will probably be picking that up.
Got it. Yeah, I just finished all my calcified fragments on the PlayStation. I'm really excited about that. All I need to do now, and in case anyone's listening, is the War Priest challenge. So anybody on the Xbox. Maybe Gray, I could slip into your is War Priest. This week is Oryx, and next week is War Priest, right?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, yeah. Maybe you could squeeze me into one of those matches because I need to get it done. Sharks, you're totally done. Have you purchased your shirt already?
Yep, I've purchased my shirt, waiting for it to be delivered. I mean, to be quite honest, I'm totally done with Destiny. The only thing I need is 15 Grimoire, and it's in the worst possible part of the game, so we'll see if I get it before Rise Iron drops.
So, if I understand it, you still need to get first place to get those points, right? It didn't change like the other requirements did. You can't get first through third, right?
No, it has to be first place in Rumble in order for it to count. And I am at 14 or 15 first place. So
man,
yeah, I got a ways to go. I mean, I
will be happy to help you out with that.
Nope. I'm not cheesing it. I'm not cheesing it.
No, not cheesing it. No, not cheesing.
No, that's cheesing. That's cheesing. I'm not doing that. Okay, when I went on Reddit to try to find out if something was screwed up in game, because I had remembered, first through third place counts as wins, but it's only for bounties, right? Yeah. And everybody was saying it's not for Grimoire. And then in that same post, everybody was saying, most people that have max Grimoire cheesed it one way or another. And I was like, you know what? I am not going to be one of those people. I am going in there and I'm doing it legit. And I was talking to nope, that's not legit. Okay, going in there with lower tier people is not legit. I'm going to go in there with people that are my quality or higher and yell and scream and swear until I get my 100 wins.
Sounds like fun. Let us know how that works out for you.
So
he's got a weird definition of a fun time,
right?
That sounds more torture to me.
Here's a little tip to all the listeners: you should invest in Pepto-Bismol because their stocks are going to go up.
Okay, Gray, you are already done. Are you buying the shirt? Did you already buy your shirt?
Yeah, I bought it day one. It still hasn't come yet, though.
Interesting. And what does it say on your sleeve?
It says Big Nuts 49, just like I said before. No, it says Grey Ghost 2E.
Oh man, that's great. I just need to do Exotic Quest on both systems and then War Priest. I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited to have gotten this all done, and it's really started to manifest itself in the fact that I've purchased and I didn't need to purchase. I broke this down. I broke down the last word because I was like, I'm never going to try and get Chaperone. But because I've been so productive this last couple of weeks due to the moments of triumph, I'm like stacking all of these things on top of each other. Like I'm trying to get my cloak from Dead Orbit. I'm trying to get the Chaperone. And actually, I've been having a lot of fun with the last word, and I see why a lot of people use it. It doesn't seem like as much of an easy button as Universal Remote, but it's definitely. I don't know. I feel like I could hear the other people yelling on the other end because I was one of those people who would die to it. And I wish that I had tried to get the Chaperone when in the heyday of the last word, when it was still cross-mapping people. But so I don't know. Sharks, is there anything you want to talk about before we go?
No, just how much I hate Rumble. That's it.
Agrios,
you know what? We didn't talk about Iron Banner. Did everybody have anything interesting in your Iron Banner experience this past week? I did manage to get all three of my characters to rank 5 on the very last day by saving up my bounties again.
I didn't even try. Go on, or go Sharks.
The one interesting thing I had was dismantling 335 gear.
Oh yeah, because you don't need it.
Well, yeah, no, I don't need it, and I needed to make room for my 60 exotic engrams that are sitting in my vault. So the only way I could do that was by deleting 335 gear that I'm not going to use anyways. Crazy.
Yeah, I played it. I played it very sparingly. I played it just enough to get a couple 335 pieces of gear. Because they were handing them out like candy, and I only got my Xbox Hunter to rank 5, but that was only because I was so close. Like I had taken my son into some Iron Banner because I wanted him to rank up, and close to 4, and then I swear I lost like 5 games in a row just trying to win one, so that I was like 250 points away on Monday night. And it was just so frustrating, and I just couldn't even bring myself to do it anymore, especially because it seems like rank 5 packages are not even worth it. So yeah, I don't know. Where were we?
My Iron Banner was very frustrating this time around. Like, I don't know what it was matchmaking wise, whether I was in a fire team or not. I played 15 games and won 1 game in those 15 matches. Like I said, if I was in a fire team or just solo, I was losing by 4,000 to 6,000 points every single match. Like, I couldn't get matched up with people that felt on my level. I always felt like they were +1 or +2 better than like my entire team, and it was just so frustrating to play. But I did eventually get everyone that I played with to rank 5. I got my Warlock and my Titan to rank 5 on Monday. And overall, I was able to raise my characters about 3 light levels each. So it was actually a really good Iron Banner.
Okay, so you did get some decent gear drops then, at least in light level.
Yeah. Yeah, and my rank 5 packages actually gave me a 335 drop each, which was really nice.
Well, that is excellent. But now we're out of time. So let's wrap this up with some shout-outs, starting with you, Gray.
So I'm going to throw this up on the screen. If you're not aware, and I'm sure our listeners, most of them are aware, our friends over at Guardian Radio, they're giving away 6 consoles to help last-gen players move up to current gen, which is an incredible thing. It's thanks to the community, even some of the Guardian 1 members. We have to give a huge shout-out to Jaded, who donated a PlayStation 4 bundle to this giveaway. We're also stepping up because we know how much Bungie really loves the number 7, and it'd be really cool to get this rounded off to a true 7 current gen console giveaway, maybe even having Bungie sign a console with all their staff and have it part of this giveaway. So if you have any connections at Bungie, if they're listening, that would be something would be really awesome to help support the community during this transition. But my shout out goes to the Guardian 1 guys and all these members, Jaded, Ed, Barry, Fork and Knife Spoon, Manny, Eric 40 Mike, and Billy 3 Sticks. All of them are just stepping up huge by donating these consoles, and that's really awesome.
That is really awesome, and I'm glad that you mentioned it because that is really excellent. What a great bunch of people! What a great community! I love it. I love it. I love it. Sharks.
My shout out goes to a Guardian 1 member for going out of his way and trying to help people that are in need. Matrix.
Awesome. Very awesome. Yeah, I always see him in the chat offering help to people for anything. And he's on both systems, so that's really excellent. It's really excellent having somebody on both systems who's able to just pick up and go. It doesn't matter which console. Very cool. Keep kicking ass, Natrix. Agrios.
All right, Gray stole a little bit of my shout outs there. So yeah, shout out Guardian Radio for giving away those systems and Jaded and whatnot. And just shout out to the G1 members that I play with on a regular basis. It's like 10 times more fun playing Destiny with you guys.
It sure is. Jez.
Oh, I never know. Shout out to Sean Murray for making his game go gold last month, so it'll be out next month.
Ooh, and what day is that? I'm really looking forward to it.
The 9th.
I need to.
I'm sad
that it got pushed back because I had planned on really getting it out of my system before Rise of Iron showed up, and I feel like I'm only going to marginally be able to get it out of my system, No Man's Sky, by the time Rise of Iron shows up. So.
You'll have 6 weeks.
I really wish it was more multiplayer than it is. I really wish I were more excited about it than I am right now.
It's multiplayer like a really slow journey. or if you were doing patrol and you seen one guy every 20 times you went down to the surface.
I think that's probably being generous.
That is generous, but
Crimson Warlock.
My shout out tonight is to a Guardian who I've gotten to know a little bit better recently. Her name's Miralindy, and she's willing to put up with my frustration in PvP and help me through a lot of the PvP quests I'm doing, even though she herself is not the greatest PvP player. So we're suffering together and building friendships. So it's fun. Thanks for playing and being awesome.
That's cool. Is she in Guardian 1?
No, she is not. She's in the LDS Gamers PlayStation 4 Bravo clan, because that clan has 4 clans now because we've got so many members in it.
That's awesome. Well, it sounds like she would have a home in Guardian 1 should she ever wish to branch out, because that sounds exactly like the kind of setting that I want people to be in. Something where you understand the frustration, but are still able to just enjoy the game and somebody's company. That's really awesome.
I gotta ask a random question, CrimZon. How was PSVR last month?
PSVR is it's very enjoyable. I was able to demo 2 different games. I played the Valkyrie game and I played the Battle Zone, I think is what it's called, the tank game.
Yeah.
The headset is actually a lot more comfortable and lightweight than I thought.
I just wanted quick thoughts because we're running out of time, but yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't feel bad. It feels like you're watching a 3D movie, but these games are made for 3D, so they're not gimmicky. So it was a great experience. So if you do have demos in your area, go try it because it's a lot of fun.
And my shout out goes to Maynard James, who made my dream of owning the Mythoclast a reality. I can't thank him enough. It's been quite a few weeks that we've been trying and nothing. And each week I just don't get it. And it's frustrating. Like how many months are we into Destiny and I still haven't gotten it. And it's not like I've run it every week, but I've run it enough to where I would think that I would have gotten it by now. But I'm just very thankful to him to continue that. I'm hoping that he finds it in his heart to attempt to do the same thing on the Xbox because how many people really run Vault of Glass on the Xbox? But who even knows? Who even knows if I'll get it on the Xbox? But it's really cool to have. I'm really glad to have the Mythoclast. I wish I would have had it in its heyday when it was mowing people down in 3 shots. But what can you do? It's nice to finally have it. And that wraps up episode 94. I would like to thank everyone listening for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any questions or suggestions for topics to be discussed on the show, please leave them in the comments below or send them to feedback@guardian1.net, and we will see you next week.